Most people misunderstand confidence. They imagine someone who speaks louder, commands attention, wins every argument, never doubts themselves, but the Sophia Empath eventually discovers the most dangerous confidence is almost invisible. It does not demand respect, it quietly makes disrespect feel impossible. Carl Jung believed that the strongest parts of our personality are often born not from comfort, but from confrontation with the shadow. The Sophia Empath knows this confrontation well. There was a time when they explained themselves endlessly. They apologized for things that required no apology. They gave people endless chances, not because they lacked intelligence, because they believed understanding would always be returned with understanding. It rarely was. Slowly, something changed. Not their kindness, their expectations. The Sophia Empath stopped searching for validation in people who had never learned to value honesty. They stopped trying to convince those committed to misunderstanding them, and something strange happened. The quieter they became, the more uncomfortable certain people became. Not because silence is threatening, because silence removes control. Manipulative people survive through reaction, arguments, defensiveness, guilt, explanation. The Sophia Empath quietly stopped providing all of them. People often mistake dark confidence for arrogance. They are not the same thing. Arrogance wants to appear superior. Dark confidence no longer needs comparison. It has already made peace with standing alone. That is what unsettles people. Someone who no longer chases approval cannot be controlled through rejection. Someone who no longer fears being misunderstood cannot be manipulated through judgment. People don't fear confidence. They fear the person whose confidence no longer depends on them. Carl Jung believed that whatever becomes conscious loses its unconscious power. The Sophia Empath slowly becomes aware of a painful pattern. Every time they abandoned themselves to keep someone else comfortable, they quietly became smaller. Every time they ignored their intuition, they strengthened someone else's influence over them. Every unnecessary explanation became permission for someone else to question their reality. Then one day, they stopped explaining, not out of anger, out of clarity. The people who truly cared stayed. The people who depended on confusion became restless, and that was the beginning of something few people ever develop. Not loud confidence, not performative confidence, but a confidence born from seeing reality without asking it to become something kinder. Perhaps that is why the Sophia Empath begins to feel different. Not stronger, not colder, simply impossible to manipulate in the same old ways. And for those who once relied on your uncertainty, nothing is more unsettling than meeting the version of you that no longer seeks permission to exist. Dark confidence does not appear overnight. It is built one disappointment at a time, one betrayal at a time, one illusion at a time. The Sophia Empath eventually realizes their greatest transformation never happened because people became kinder. It happened because they finally stopped expecting them to be. Carl Jung believed that every person wears a persona, a carefully crafted identity, the version they want the world to believe: confident, generous, honest, loyal. But the shadow always waits behind the mask, patient, silent, watching. The Sophia Empath once believed every mask deserved trust. Now, they simply wait, because time always introduces the shadow. The charming person slowly becomes controlling. The generous person quietly begins keeping score. The supportive friend suddenly becomes distant the moment your life improves. Different personalities, the same unconscious pattern. Dark confidence teaches the Sophia Empath something almost unsettling. You do not need extraordinary intelligence to understand people. You only need the discipline to stop interrupting their patterns. People reveal themselves naturally, not during perfect moments, during repeated ones. Watch how someone behaves when they lose control. Watch how they react when you succeed. Watch how they respond the first time you disappoint them. That is where personality ends and character quietly begins. Most people fear silence because they believe silence creates distance. The Sophia Empath discovers something different. Silence creates truth. Without endless explanations, people begin projecting their own assumptions. Without chasing approval, people begin revealing how much they depended on your validation. Without defending yourself, those who were committed to misunderstanding you become exhausted. People cannot manipulate reactions that no longer exist. That realization feels dangerous, not because it changes other people, because it changes you. People don't resent your weakness. They resent the possibility that you might outgrow them. The Sophia Empath notices this almost immediately. The moment they stop apologizing for existing, someone calls them arrogant. The moment they stop saying yes to everything, someone calls them selfish. The moment they stop carrying everyone's emotional weight, someone accuses them of changing. Perhaps they did, but not in the way people imagine. They did not lose compassion. They lost permission for others to mistake compassion for compliance. Carl Jung believed that consciousness separates us from unconscious repetition. The Sophia Empath no longer repeats the same emotional bargains. They no longer trade peace for acceptance. They no longer exchange self-respect for temporary belonging. And strangely, this quiet refusal creates something many people cannot explain. Respect mixed with fear. Because the hardest person to influence is the one who has already become comfortable walking away. The Sophia Empath eventually notices something that most people never even question. Why do certain people become uncomfortable? The moment you stop needing them, not asking for reassurance, not seeking approval, not explaining every decision, not defending every choice. At first, it seems like coincidence, but the pattern repeats too often to ignore. Carl Jung believed that every relationship contains an invisible balance of power. Not power through force, power through emotional dependence. The person who needs less validation quietly gains more freedom. The Sophia Empath once lived differently. They believed harmony required constant effort. If someone misunderstood them, they explained. If someone became distant, they reached out. If someone treated them unfairly, they searched for what they themselves had done wrong. It looked like maturity, but beneath that maturity, another pattern quietly survived: the fear of being misunderstood. Dark confidence begins. The moment that fear loses its authority, the Sophia Empath slowly realizes not every misunderstanding deserves correction. Some people misunderstand you because understanding you would require changing themselves, and change is a price many people quietly refuse to pay. People often accuse confident individuals of becoming cold, but something far more interesting is happening. The Sophia Empath has not become less emotional. They have become less available to emotional manipulation. There is a difference. One closes the heart, the other protects it. That difference is invisible until someone tries to control you. The manipulator notices it immediately. Guilt no longer works. Silence no longer creates panic. Criticism no longer changes your direction. Suddenly, they are forced to face someone they cannot predict. Nothing unsettles controlling people more than an unpredictable mind. Carl Jung believed that the shadow becomes dangerous only while it remains unseen. The Sophia Empath finally begins recognizing the shadows around them, the friend who supports everyone except the person quietly succeeding, the partner who says they love honesty until honesty exposes their behavior, the colleague who celebrates teamwork only while they remain the center of attention. Different people, the same unconscious conflict. Dark confidence does not expose these people. It simply stops protecting them from the consequences of their own patterns. And perhaps that is why people begin calling the Sophia Empath different. Not because they became intimidating, because they stopped pretending not to see what had always been there. The greatest shift was never in their personality. It was in their perception. Once you stop confusing potential with reality, very few people can hide behind charm for long, and the person who once needed everyone's acceptance quietly becomes the one whose approval everyone begins chasing. Dark confidence changes something most people never expect. It changes the energy you bring into every room before you ever say a word. The Sophia Empath begins noticing this almost by accident. Conversations become shorter. People choose their words more carefully. Those who once dismissed them suddenly become strangely respectful. Not because the Sophia Empath became more intimidating, because uncertainty disappeared. Human beings constantly search for emotional openings, a hesitation, a desperate need to be liked, a fear of rejection, a habit of doubting yourself before anyone else has the chance. These signals are almost invisible, yet people respond to them instinctively. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious recognizes far more than the conscious mind admits. That is why confidence is rarely communicated through words. It is communicated through presence. The Sophia Empath once entered every relationship asking, "How can I make this work?" Now, they quietly ask something else. Does this relationship deserve my peace? One question seeks approval. The other protects awareness. That single shift changes every interaction. People who respected your kindness remain exactly where they are. People who depended on your uncertainty begin pulling away. At first, this feels like loss, until the Sophia Empath realizes they were never losing genuine relationships. They were losing unhealthy access. Most people become uncomfortable when they can no longer predict your reactions. Not because unpredictability is dangerous, because control depends upon predictability. If they know guilt will change your mind, they will use guilt. If they know silence will make you panic, they will use silence. If they know criticism will make you explain yourself, they will criticize. Different strategies, the same unconscious goal. Dark confidence quietly removes every one of those doors, not through resistance, through awareness. People often think strength means fighting harder. The Sophia Empath discovers real strength often means refusing invitations that were designed to become battles. Not every accusation deserves an answer. Not every opinion deserves correction. Not every misunderstanding deserves your energy. Most relationships don't end when respect disappears. They end when awareness appears. Carl Jung believed that individuation begins when a person stops living through the expectations of others. The Sophia Empath finally understands what that means. They stop performing, they stop shrinking, they stop making themselves easier to understand simply to make others comfortable. And something remarkable happens. The people who truly value authenticity move closer. Those who only valued convenience slowly disappear without being asked to leave. Perhaps that is why dark confidence feels so unsettling to the outside world. It cannot be manipulated by praise. It cannot be controlled by rejection. It cannot be shaken by temporary loneliness. Because the Sophia Empath has finally learned that peace earned through self-betrayal was never peace at all. The Sophia Empath eventually understands that dark confidence is not something you perform. It is something you stop performing against. For years, they believed confidence meant becoming someone different, speaking differently, looking stronger, appearing unaffected. But Carl Jung believed that the greatest transformation never comes from creating a new self. It comes from removing the false one. The Sophia Empath begins remembering, How much energy was once spent managing other people's emotions, choosing every word carefully, avoiding uncomfortable truths, smiling when something felt wrong, remaining silent when boundaries were crossed, not because they were weak, because they believed peace required self-sacrifice. Now, they see something they could never see before. Every time they abandoned their own truth, someone else became more comfortable controlling the story. That is the hidden cost of people-pleasing. It does not simply exhaust you, it quietly teaches others that your reality is negotiable. Dark confidence interrupts that lesson, not through aggression, through consistency. The Sophia Empath stops changing their values to match the room they are standing in. If they agree honestly. If they disagree, they remain calm. If someone walks away, they let them. No chase, no performance, no silent desperation hidden behind polite words. People often expect confidence to create admiration, but something stranger happens first. It creates resistance, because every person living behind a mask feels uncomfortable around someone who no longer needs one. Carl Jung believed that the shadow is often projected onto those who remind us of the parts of ourselves we refuse to face. That is why the Sophia Empath suddenly hears new labels. You've changed. You think you're better now. You're becoming cold. The words sound different. The message is the same. Return to the version of yourself that was easier to control. But dark confidence has already changed something irreversible. The Sophia Empath no longer mistakes guilt for responsibility. They no longer mistake someone's disappointment for proof they did something wrong. Those are two very different things. And understanding that difference quietly changes every relationship. The people who love the real you adapt. The people who loved your self-doubt protest. Different reactions, the same revelation. Perhaps that is why true confidence always appears darker than it really is. Not because it lacks compassion, because it refuses to sacrifice truth, to keep illusions alive. And the moment a Sophia Empath stops protecting other people's illusions, they unknowingly become the one person very few are capable of manipulating. The final transformation of the Sophia Empath is almost impossible to see from the outside. Nothing dramatic changes. Their voice remains calm. Their kindness remains genuine. Their compassion never disappears. Yet somehow, everyone feels the difference. Carl Jung believed that true psychological strength is not found in controlling others. It is found in no longer being controlled by what lives inside yourself. The Sophia Empath begins recognizing an old habit. Every criticism once felt personal. Every rejection felt like proof of inadequacy. Every disagreement felt like a relationship in danger. Now, those same moments feel different. Not because they stopped caring, because they stopped confusing another person's perception with objective reality. That distinction changes everything. People often believe confidence means believing you are always right. Dark confidence asks something much quieter. What if I no longer need everyone to agree with me? The moment that question is answered, freedom quietly enters. Someone misunderstands you. You remain calm. Someone judges you unfairly. You remain steady. Someone leaves because your boundaries no longer benefit them. You let them leave, not out of pride, out of peace. The Sophia Empath finally understands something most people spend a lifetime avoiding. Every relationship asks for a price. Some ask for honesty. Some ask for loyalty. Others quietly ask you to abandon yourself. The most dangerous relationships are not the loudest ones. They are the ones where self-betrayal slowly begins to feel normal. One compromise, then another, until you wake up one day, unable to recognize the person who kept everyone else comfortable. Carl Jung believed that individuation begins when a person stops living according to unconscious expectations. The Sophia Empath realizes those expectations were never only their own. Family, friends, partners, society, everyone carried an image of who they should remain: gentle, available, understanding, always forgiving, never difficult. But the moment they developed dark confidence, those expectations quietly collapsed. Some people celebrated the change, others feared it. Not because confidence is frightening, because it exposed relationships that had depended upon your uncertainty. The Sophia Empath no longer seeks to be admired, they seek something much rarer: inner alignment. When your thoughts, your words, and your actions finally belong to the same person, very little remains for manipulation to grasp, and perhaps that is why dark confidence feels so unsettling. It is not loud enough to challenge people directly, it simply stands there, refusing to move, refusing to shrink, refusing to become smaller, just so someone else can feel bigger. And in the end, the Sophia Empath discovers that dark confidence was never about becoming someone people fear. It was about becoming someone who no longer fears losing people for being authentic. For years, they believed strength meant enduring everything, remaining patient, remaining available, remaining endlessly understanding. Surely, if they carried enough of everyone else's pain, someone would eventually protect theirs. But human nature rarely works that way. People often respect what they know they can lose. They often overlook what they believe will always remain. The Sophia Empath finally understands why their life changed. The moment they stopped making themselves endlessly available, not because they became distant, because their presence was no longer guaranteed. Carl Jung believed that every person eventually reaches a point where they must choose between their persona and their true self. The persona wants acceptance, the true self wants freedom. Very few people choose freedom, because freedom comes with loneliness, it comes with misunderstanding, it comes with watching certain relationships quietly disappear. But it also comes with something priceless: peace. The Sophia Empath no longer needs to prove they are kind. Their actions speak quietly. They no longer need to defend their boundaries. Their consistency does it for them. They no longer need everyone to understand them, because understanding is no longer the price they demand before respecting themselves. People begin calling them intimidating, not because they became aggressive, because certainty has a strange effect on uncertain minds. The person who cannot be manipulated often appears mysterious. The person who cannot be guilted often appears cold. The person who no longer explains every decision often appears dangerous. But appearance is not reality. The Sophia Empath has not become harder. They have become clearer. And clarity unsettles those who benefited from confusion. People don't fear your confidence. They fear what your confidence reveals about their dependence on your doubt. That is why your silence feels louder, your boundaries feel stronger, your absence feels heavier. Not because you changed the world around you, because you stopped changing yourself to fit the world around you. Perhaps that was Carl Jung's deepest insight. The greatest battle was never against manipulative people. It was against the unconscious version of yourself that believed love required self-abandonment. Once that version disappears, very few people can reach the parts of you they once controlled. And perhaps that is the quiet truth hidden beneath dark confidence. It is not the confidence to dominate, it is the confidence to walk away from anything that demands you betray your own soul. Because the moment a Sophia Empath no longer negotiates with their own worth, the world doesn't suddenly become kinder. It simply loses the power to convince them they are less than they have always been.